Good morning, members of the press. Thank you once again for coming to our monthly press conference. I know now it's becoming a bit random. The last time was before the new year, and now today is the 17th of February, 2026. Happy Independence Anniversary to you all. With us here today is the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, and Gambians abroad, also to grace this very important monthly press conference. Tomorrow is Independence Day, as we all know, and I think we've gone a long way as a country. We've achieved a lot despite the setbacks over the past decades. But before we'll start, I'll start with the updates from government. Then we can do a short presentation of the achievements of the tour, as highlighted by the president, and then we can now open the floor for Q&A. Now, the first update is from the Office of the President. Gambia has achieved 90% electricity access across the country. You all know last week, the president was on tour and commissioned 719 communities have been electrified, including 209 in the North Bank region. This is a huge achievement, a huge milestone for the country. Communities that had never had electricity before for centuries, for hundreds of years, now are electrified. I think this is a huge achievement. The president had made a pledge, a promise, that by the end of 2025, we'll have 90% electricity access. He has delivered that promise. And the promise that is remaining, the remaining 10% to achieve universal access, it means every community in the Gambia will be connected to the grid, will be achieved before the end of this year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Gambia will be the first country in West Africa to really achieve this very significant achievement. Now, not only are communities being electrified, schools and healthcare centers are also being electrified. The president also expanded electricity, solar, in 1,000 schools and 100 health centers as well. Now, the president of ECOWAS, Dr. Omar Toure, has congratulated the Gambia for leading implementation of this ECOWAS project of electrification and for being the first country in the sub-region to reach its electrification target. That Gambia is the first country in the sub-region to reach this target of 90%. And the government has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring that no Gambian community is left behind in national development. The president has promised what we call inclusive development, inclusive transformation, that nobody is left behind, breaking the dichotomy between urban and rural, and also reducing rural-urban migration, is to make sure we bring basic services to our people in rural Gambia through water supply, expanding access to education and healthcare, but also building roads. The other update is from the Ministry of Interior, the more precise Department of Immigration, which has a digitalization of payments for national ID cards and residential permits. The Immigration Department is saying that effective 16th of February, which was yesterday, ID card and residential permit payments at Carnifing and Banjul centers will no longer accept cash. It means if you want to pay for your ID cards and your residence permits, you don't have to pay money at the issuing center. What they are saying is that applicants must make payments at designated commercial banks and present original receipts for processing. Now, this is all part of our reforms for broader digital governance and public financial management modernization agenda. This is part of our reforms. Now, the other one is for the Gambia Prison Services. They announced that the president, Adama Barrow, exercising his prerogative of mercy powers under Section 82 of the 1997 Constitution, is granting presidential pardon to 56 male inmates. According to a statement from the prison authorities, the inmates were released on Wednesday last week from the Mile 2 state prisons as part of the exercise of the president's constitutional mandate. The prison services said that the decision reflects the government's commitment to justice rehabilitation and reintegration, offering eligible inmates an opportunity to rebuild their lives and contribute positively to society. Now, there's another update which will be delivered by the Minister for Foreign Affairs. If you could give us that update about I think questions about the Gambians in Ukraine and their fate. That question was also asked. If you can give us updates on that. Thank you.
A happy anniversary celebration. This is just an update. If you have seen recently, the report on the death of about 20 Gambian citizens in Russia. According to the reports we received from our mission, so far 9 of them. They are not yet conclusive in the reports, but they are also trying to work with the Russian side to be able to establish whether the figure was 20. But as of now, our mission in Russia has managed to establish that 9 Gambian citizens were confirmed dead. And then we are also working with the Russian side to make sure that at least, a support can be done in terms of whether we can have the bodies, the remains of these citizens, so that they can be repatriated to the Gambia here. So as of now, we only can confirm 9. And then the mission is also undertaking efforts to make sure that they can work with the Russian side to see whether actually it was 20. This is just the update that is coming from our mission in Moscow. Thank you.
List, I'd like to go through a few developments that are registered in 2025 by the government of the Gambia. Now, the president had the Meet the People's tour recently. And then you can see that he had direct engagements in 7 regions. And the focus was on accountability and citizen feedback. As a government, we care about what the citizens are saying and what their aspirations are, what their concerns are. That is why the president, every year, at least once, as mandated by the Constitution, goes around the country to interface with the citizens. So they tell him how they are feeling, what they want, what their needs are. And in response, he tells them what he can do. And then every year he goes back and they hold him accountable for his promises in the previous year. That is why the talk gives him the chance, or the citizens the chance, to hold him accountable, but also to get a feedback loop mechanism as well. Now, the goal of the tour is to translate the Uruwa NDP into tangible community results. We all know the Gambia's development framework is guided by the Uruwa National Development Plan. Obviously, it should not only be something on paper, it should be felt by the citizens. The impact must be felt by the citizens. If the NDP says that the plan is to build 1,000 kilometers of roads, this should translate into tangible impacts by the citizens. Now, under infrastructure, is completed. Now, those that are yet to be completed, if you add it, is over 1,500 kilometers of roads. And we are commissioning an extra 500 very soon. So we are going over 2,000 kilometers of roads. And interesting is that so like I said, on the 2026, 870 kilometers of new road projects are slated for 2026. So if you add that to the 1,002, which is ready, that'll be over 2,000 kilometers of roads. Now, for West Coast region, we spent 7.7 billion investments in currently active for roads alone. And for the urban renewal, 43 million for the Banjul Rehab project, which is also ongoing. Now, for energy and water, electricity access, we've reached 90%, like I said. Subsidies, 1 billion government intervention in 2025 for electricity. And then we are also, for water, 100 new systems serving 106,500 plus citizens. And the WASID project, which also provide water to over 1 million Gambians in urban Gambia. For agriculture, fertilizer subsidy prices reduced from 2,950 to 1,100, 63% subsidy. Government is paying the rest. Mechanized, 69 out of 189 tractors are delivered. And groundnut trade, 1.5 billion invested and 1 billion for local purchases in groundnut. It was 60 by 2017, now it's 170. Maternal care, 10 new wards via the FAB Foundation, including SO, Farafanya, and Soma. And also, we have also National Emergency Center, 105-bed facility nearing completion, 1,500 bed in Farato. Many hospitals under reconstruction. We are building new ones, particularly in healthcare centers in Jali, in Kiang, in Mankamang, in Tumana, in Sisemajao, and also in Salikenye. But also we are renovating a lot of these health centers. For example, one in Jao, we started new units, urology unit, cardiology unit, all these units at the EFSTH. We've also invested over $3.1 million in equipment alone on the healthcare sector. On the education, we built over 6,000 classrooms and over 400 schools. within this very short period to expand education access to rural communities as well. Youth and women enterprise for 95 million has been disbursed to date. Entrepreneurship, 117 million to set aside to train and fund 2,240 women. We have also invested a lot in building new universities, the USET one in Brikama, and also to promote skills among young people. We've built a lot of vocational training centers. Some are specialized, some are multipurpose. Multipurpose ones are in Kanilai, in Demban, in Pachar, in Wasu. We are building specialized ones in Tujereng for only aquaculture, another specialized ones in Pachar for only the agri business as well. The initiatives for integrity, we are launching the National Misinformation Response Center, which is the air-powered verification hub in the region, and this aligns with our Pretoria Action Plan. So these are some of the achievements we've registered. We've also passed the data protection law, which ensures that your data is protected, and the personal privacy laws. We've also passed obviously, you all know that the anti-corruption law was passed. The anti-corruption officials have been confirmed, and they'll be sworn in very soon. The Reparations Commission is also active, and they started paying reparations to victims as well. So all these are achievements by the government, and we all know the president is focused on building or continuing to build a stable, secure, vibrant, thriving democracy in the sub-region. Recently, Gambia has been named the safest country in West Africa and the 4th safest in Africa, behind Mauritius, Namibia, and Botswana. But in West Africa, we're the safest country. It means that we're a very secure country. Our democracy is next to none in the continent. The fastest growing economy, our economy will grow to 5.9% by the end of the year. It means our economy is expanding. So all these are good news. Our public finances are in good shape. Our budget deficit is almost 1%, which is way below the accepted average globally. It means that the country is on the right track. The Gambia is better off today than 15 years ago. And this is confirmed by both GDP growth, but also purchasing power as well. So this is what is happening in the country. I think we all should be proud of ourselves for the good work. Everybody contributed. The president alone is not taking the credit for this. Everybody is contributing. From the farmer in Bondali, to the carpenter in Basse, to the welder man in Brikama, to the civil servant in Banjul. Everybody contributed to the success of this country. And I think tomorrow is independence. We all should be proud of ourselves. At 61 years old today, tomorrow, we've built a country against all odds, despite the pessimistic prognosis of Bakile Rice, who said the Gambia was not a probable nation and that we could not survive as an independent sovereign state because of the status of our resources in 1965. But now today, we did not only survive as an independent nation, we've also gone through a lot of hardships and difficulties and setbacks. And we've become very resilient in making sure that we harness the spirit, the government spirit, to make sure that we now survive as a nation. Tomorrow we celebrate 61, and we are now one of the leading developing countries in West Africa. So that's all from us, and we'll be happy to receive questions from you. Thank you.
My question goes to the Honorable Minister.
Honorable.
Yes, please.
The Gambians who died at the front line in the Russia-Ukraine war. What is government currently doing in order to stop that, and also how these people are, or whether government is also investigating how these people are being recruited into the army and then go to the front line?
Thank you very much. Let me just put clarification in this. We are not sure whether they died in the front line. What we know is that they died in operations. And this is so far the figure that we have received. Most of the time, Gambians that travels to Russia do go with the securing visitors visa. Some they go with maybe education visas. And then they end up, enlisting into the Russian army. It is the same way that on the Ukraine side also, we have Gambians who are also enlisting into the Ukraine armed forces, and they are also equally fighting. It's a volatile situation. All that we do as a government, when they are going there, we are not informed. People just travel and end up getting into these operations, and then it becomes very complicated. Well, this is a situation between two warring countries. And then all that they're doing is not only Gambia, they're recruiting citizens of Africa, West Africa in our region, and also all over the world. We keep educating our citizens, especially those that do not even have military experience. When they go and enlist in this kind of warfare, not having, in fact, the enough military background, it becomes very, very difficult. The only thing that we can do as a country is to advise and educate our citizens that they should not endeavor to enroll in this kind of warfare. It's not like you're going there to play games. This is a real scenario, war scenario. And if you go out there, the only thing that we can expect is that both parties will deploy you to the front, to the war front. And that means you are not going to fight in blancos. You would rather fight, do the firefight in a real wartime. And that is why it is so serious. We are advising our citizens to take note of this and not to go and enlist in this kind of war situation. That is the only way we can do. Unfortunately, we have been having reports of the death of our citizens. We want to express our condolences. And as a government, all that we can do is to engage with the Russian side and also the Ukrainian side, not to enroll or enlist our citizens. That is so far what we have been doing. I have another arranged meeting, probably tomorrow or after tomorrow, with the Russians rep in Banjul here. And equally, our mission in Moscow is also engaging the Russian authorities in Russia. That is so far what we are doing now. Thank you.
Everyone, I am Binta Estian, Bessel Media.
Which media?
Bessel Media.
Bessel.
Yes. You spoke about the releasing of some emails from a prison. You mentioned that there were 56, if I am right, and they were all male. So mostly what I see online is people commenting, why is it just male? Don't we have female inmates in there, or they were the only ones qualified to be released by the president?
Not actually. The prerogative to pardon prisoners is the sole discretion of the president as granted by the Gambian Constitution. This follows a very transparent and rigorous process. At the helm of this process is a small committee called the Prerogative of Mercy Committee. This committee has 3 individuals. The Bishop of Banjul, who heads this, is the Christian Council, the President of the Supreme Islamic Council, and the Attorney General. To support their work is an operational committee called the Prisons Committee, who now sits and follow guidelines and criteria that are set as to who qualifies to be pardoned by the president. And they follow that process. And these guidelines could involve as the number of your behavior in prison, the type of crime you've committed, the time you've served, how much is remaining. There are certain criteria set. Now, if we all know that our prisons, the percentage of women is not that much, and most women who are serving time there are not there for small crimes like weed and those particular. That is why they don't fall under, they don't qualify. Not that there is a systematic discrimination to stop women from benefiting from the pardon. No, it's just that women have not been qualifying for the pardon as set by the criteria and the guidelines. Now, the prisoners all are male. The majority are Gambian. There are a few Sierra Leoneans, a few Conakry Guineans, and a few Senegalese who are also pardoned. My understanding is that those will be deported as soon as they are pardoned. But the fact is that women are not discriminated. It's just that this criteria set aside for qualification for the pardon, women don't really meet the criteria. It's either because they don't fall on the crime category or also because of the number of women in prison. But the process is very transparent. The president, it is his sole prerogative, but he's supported by 2 committees that ensure that his decision is guided by fair play and the rule of law.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Doc. My name is Suego from SS Media. We have got the information that this government is planning to, we have received the information that this government is planning to legalize to control the Gambian media, especially the online media platform. So if it is true, why should?
Why did you start with? Why didn't you say if it is false? Why did you start with if it is true? Why didn't you say if it's a fake news? Government has no plan to control the online media. We all know that since 2017, the President, His Excellency, has put emphasis on a free media. That is why you've seen that our media ranking has gone up tremendously globally, but also in Africa. I've also heard these rumors going around. There are no plans to, what was the word used? There is no plan to muzzle the press. There's no plans to do that. So it's all fake news. That's what I can say.
My second question
will
be, previously we have spoke about media and subvention. Understand? Does this government plan to provide any media subvention to the media?
Well, we're working on some sort of support for the media. How that will come, we don't know in what form. We are working with Gambia Press Union and the Media Council to take a paper to cabinet to see what support can be given to the media. We want the media to thrive. We believe that the media is the lifeblood of any democracy. And we know the problems the media is facing currently. Operational costs have gone up for the media. And for our democracy to thrive, for it to consolidate, the media has to be very vibrant. And for the media to be vibrant, it must be economically sound. We've registered almost 40-something radio stations in this country. We are going to have almost 6 to 7 TV stations. We have already 5 newspapers and a plethora of online media. And we need to support the media. Now, how we are going to do it, we are working on a formula to see what support we can give to the media, because we believe that the media needs support for them to continue doing their job. And this support can include capacity building. Competence is important. We want to have an ethical, competent media. So when you report in an ethical, competent manner. That support is needed, because if you are struggling to pay your bills as a media house, you will not spend money on training for your staff. And training is important. That is why very soon we are also organizing, as part of the African Union Broadcasting celebrations in April, we are organizing a training for media personnel in this country on AI, how to use AI in reporting. So part of our job is to ensure that we build your capacity and develop your skills as well.
That question is not actually finished, but then it's good that it's in a kind of paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm actually saying, providing any media subvention to the media to build up the 2026 presidential election. If so, would this not appear to be an inducement?
Well, who is doing that, by the way? I've not heard about giving. I'm not aware of that we are going to give money to the media for 2026 elections. I don't know anything about that.
What we say is that you said you're providing it. You're planning to provide it.
Not for the elections. Broadly speaking, we want to create a sustainable environment for the media. It's got nothing to do with 2026 elections.
So what is your stand on monetizing the channels, like digitalizing so the media platforms can start to generate directly from digital media platforms?
That is the prerogative of the digital economy minister. That's not our ministry's mandate. That is for digital economy minister to work on that and find ways to ensure that digital platforms are monetized. That is for that sector. Yes?
Yes.
Can we give somebody else a chance so you can come back with that? You've already asked a question. Who else?
My name is Anamana from TTM, that is Teacher Media. Yeah, my question is, you made mention the Gambia government have achieved 90% of electrifying the Gambian communities. So you find out that a second bridge in like 4 years onwards, that we're lucky to be part of the project. We even have the meetings and so on. But then the president has went on a nationwide tour and inaugurate certain areas. But we are yet to also receive the electrifying, finally to see.
It will come.
So this is why I wanted to ask, for how long do we have to also keep waiting?
Well, I cannot tell you the exact timeline. I know what I can tell you with confidence is that the president made a promise that by the end of the year we'll have 90%. He's already fulfilled that promise. The 10% will come. It's on course. Very soon it will come. I cannot tell you exact, but what I can tell you is that rest assured that all communities in the Gambia will be electrified. If you don't have it now, you will have it very soon. That I can assure you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Maa ngi tudd Amath Kebe from Paradise TV. su ma njëlbéenu laajte bi dina nekk ci diggante nguur ak Gambia gi ak ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk Albayrak group gisoon ne ñi tegoon xeer bu njëkk bi pour di si bi ñu war a tabax Sanyang gis nañ ne taxawoon na ñi gisaat ne ñi ngi jàngataat li nga xam ne moo nekk contrat bi bëgg nañoo xam ci loolu noonu fan la toll. beneen bi gis nañ ne suñu diggante Sénégal ay dëkkandoo la ñuy jege la daanaka lépp ñoo ko bokkandoo gis nañ fa coowal góor jigéen boo xam ne bëri na fa te ñu ngi siy tudd mu amaana mën na law ba agsi fi nga xam ne moo nekk réewum Gambia ban jéego la ci nguur gi di def ndax dafa bokk ci suñu diin ak suñu aada ci li nga xam ne moo nekk wàllum jikko.
si lu xew Sénégal la mënuma si wax parce que lu ma la mooy lu ma óor mooy Gambia loi bi alaawut ñaari góor wala ñaari jigéen ñuy sëy loolu moom loi bi nangu ko foofu laa mën a em te li nga wax mooy ne ndax dina egsi fii gisaanguñ ko egsengul fii soo mënuñ see wax tamit suñ ko waaye rek ñu ngi préempt loo xam ne egsengul fii nii soo ñun amuñ problème boobu noonu déggaanguma ko fenn dégguma kenn wax ko amaanguñ problème boobu noonu soo mënuñ see xuus lu xuus bu yaatu ñaareel bi mooy diggante Albayrak ak nguur gi ñëpp xam nañ ne contrat bu nekk dafa am ay sarta yoo xam ne am na ay timelines nañ ne waxtu bi li nga war a def léegi waxtu boobu noonu ak jot na ñu gestuwaat contrat bi gis ne li nga xam ne moo waroon a am na yu si des dañu war a toogaat nag négocier seet naka lañ ko defee loolu nag is very normal in contract ne su dee dañ toog ñu waxtaan ñu am ay d'accord si ay doxalin si ay waxtu ay jamono bi jot nag ñu gestu gis ne am na li si des war nañoo toogaat ñu waxtaan si naka lañ ko mën a gaawale loolu rek la waa du dara li nga xam ne dafa yaa contrat bi wala dafa affaire contrat bi toog la rek waxtaan si contrat bi ak naka la moo demee si kanam loolu rek la waaw kañakaay
sa laajte bi affaire yi yëpp yi góor jigéen yi jamono yi Sénégal seen minister of state bu responsible for Senegalese abroad mu ngi si dëkk bi jamono yi mu ngi war a mit Sénégalais yi fi nekk dina am meeting tamit ak xam naa media bi dina doon baax tamit li nga xam ne moo aju si xew-xew bi Sénégal maanaam soo amoon jot mun nga àgg foofu tamit nga laaj ko li dina ko mën a leeral waaye nu ko docteur waxee mooy ñun suñu réew fii Gàmbi alawuñ ko nanguwuñ ko te képp kuñ si jàpp tamit luwaa dina am ak yow affaire jërëjëf.
From Dana TV. My question is with regards to the digitalization of the immigration payment, which is the ID. What measures will be taken to ensure that those in the rural areas will have full access to this digitalization program? Because most of the time, these people find it very difficult to access banks. Banks are also limited around the rural area as well.
But I don't think banks are limited in rural areas. It depends on where. Actually, there's a government portal where now all payments are now made for all services, whether land, whether business registration. It's part of our drive to manage public finances, but also to make it more efficient and also that the money is put where it is supposed to be. That is it. So I think it's not an excuse to say rural areas. I think rural areas also, they also access the internet. There are banks there, and they can go and pay.
Digital services are always difficult.
But they are not.
Internet.
They are challenging, but it's possible because if you are in the rural area, you can always get someone to pay for in urban Gambia. We all have relatives in urban Gambia. They can just go online and just fill the form and just make the payment for at any bank. But I think we are moving digital. The whole world is moving digital. I think we should also allow rural communities also move along with us. If we just say they cannot access it, then there'll be no development. But it's to ensure that we have systems in place to ensure they also come along and make. I think the debate should be how do we support them to adapt to these new changes. And I think the government is doing that by expanding digital services across the country.
So the second question is, the Gambia is said to be the first country in the sub-region to reach the ECOWAS electrification target. How does this position the country regionally, and what support or leadership role will the Gambia now play within the ECOWAS?
Well, I think we are going to be a leader in national electrification. That is for sure. Other countries will come to learn from us how we've done it. And there is no better way to describe how we've done it apart from visionary leadership and dedicated leadership by His Excellency the President. Now, not only Gambia has benefited from this ECOWAS project, other countries have benefited from it, but Gambia is the first to achieve 90%. And that shows the importance of stability and continuity, and also the rule of law in a democracy. If you look at the sub-region today, Gambia is started as one of the leading multi-party democracies, stable, thriving, following the rule of law. So I think this is good for the Gambia. It puts us at another level in the map. I was very emotional. I've seen people cry in rural when the president was around. Cry, not like cry, normal cry like you used to cry. Yes. No, they cry, emotional, happiness, because they never imagined in their lifetime that they would witness having electricity in their homes and drink cold water from their fridge and put their ACs on. And you know the impact of this is that it's going to provide jobs. Where there were no welders before, there will be welders now, and carpenters, electricians, radio makers, TV makers. It's a huge achievement. We are underplaying and downplaying this, but it is huge. It's a revolution. And we are lucky to be the generation that witnessed this. We are very lucky to be the generation that witnessed this. So I think it's good that we have this. Gambia now is leading the drive for electricity expansion. Further questions? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Manabuka. I'm from QTV. My question is in regards to, we still have youth employment as a challenge, and we have a significant amount of the budget allocated to human capital investment. Are there any new initiatives under the Euro that are being engaged in to help with irregular migration and youth employment? Thank you.
Well, I think the Euro is very clear. The strategy to make sure we provide employment, quality employment, is through skills training. We realized after a skills gaps assessment that the problem is not the quantity of unemployment of jobs, it's the quality of jobs. Currently, there are many jobs in this country that are unfulfilled, that are not filled, because we could not match skills to the labor market. That is why the government has a conscious strategy to expand TVET education. So we realize that what the job market now needs is that, and that is why we built TVET centers across the country, giving incentives to young people to go and study for free, with support as well in these TVET centers, but also having a postgraduate program at the University of the Gambia to make sure that students also have practical experience after university so they can be employable. So government has done that. Government has a conscious policy as part of the labor policy that we want to provide 150,000 jobs before 2026. And I think we've reached that. We didn't have the empirical evidence yet, but I think all the sectors, when you look at all the sectors, the restaurant that are open in hospitality sector, even in my sector, the information ecosystem, look at all this. 2017, you could only have GRTS in a press conference like this. Today, I cannot even count how many, all these media houses have employed someone. And you look at the value chain of that. You go to construction, it's booming, the employment there. You go to real estate is booming. You go to all the sectors. So we are providing employment for our young people. Irregular migration, and I think it should be very clear, the lack of jobs is not that which drives irregular migration. There are people who had jobs and they left their jobs and they went. People had businesses, shops, they were selling and they sold their shops and they left. Police officers, teachers has gone to DTU, CCU, got money and they left. So it's not about jobs. When people they want to travel, that's a decision they've made. But government is aware of this challenge. Gambia's population is young, and the young people, what do they need? First and foremost, skills training so they can be employed. And that is what we are doing as a policy, to make sure that we build the right infrastructure, the right ecosystem, so young people can be trained and they are skilled and they are able to be employed. And this promotes also foreign direct investment. When investors also want a skilled, competent country, so they can come and invest in this country. And we're attracting FDI. Recently, if you check from 2017 to date, our FDI has shot up by over 200% in terms of money that comes into Gambia for investment. So our conscious policy is what? Invest in young people, train them, skill them, so they can be employable. Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, young lady.
Good morning. My name is Saul. I want to ask a question regarding to the new OIC. Sorry, yes, OIC. Many listeners have raised concern about the route, saying that they cannot access it. So I want to know what is the government's measures concerning that?
Well, the OIC road is not ready yet. It is still under construction. The only reason why we are using it because there are no alternative routes. I am aware that the issue of disability is mainstreamed in the entire project. Based on my understanding, there are about 17 prefabricated pedestrian crossings that will be installed once they are done for easy access as well, so we can cross. The side service roads are being worked on. So I think once the road is finished, you'll get access for people who are with disabilities. The government has a conscious decision as part of the policy. I think there was an act, the Disability Act, correct me if I'm wrong, to ensure that people who are living with disabilities get access to services, get access to buildings, and can able to use public service and public roads easily. I think these are but understand that the OIC road is not finished yet. It is still under construction, and when it is finished, access wouldn't be a problem for people with disabilities.
My name is Maurice Saab, New Global Media. My question is, I want to know whether the Cameroonian opposition leader, Issa Bakary Chiroma, whether he is still in the country. And if he is in the country, how is the government engaging with the international partners to ensure a negotiated solution to the problem? My second question is, currently the United Nations Secretary General position is taking place because Antonio Guterres is retired in December 2026. So the former president of Senegal, Macky Sall, wanted to contest for the seat. So what did the government of the Gambia, did this come to cabinet level concerning this? Because last week, former President Sall wrote to the Senegalese government for their endorsement. So what about Gambia? Whether Gambia also has been notified about the selection?
So Gambia has taken a position. Yeah. We are going to nominate you as the USC.
Is Bakary Chiroma. If you recall, after the elections in Cameroon, in fact, before the Independent Electoral Commission announces the results of the elections, Isa decided to announce himself as the winner of the elections. That alone contravenes the constitutions of Cameroon. And then he fled the country and then went to Nigeria. His presence in the Gambia here was facilitated by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Gambia hosted him purely on humanitarian basis, and also to make sure that the peace and stability and tranquility in Cameroon is not jeopardized. Gambia acted in solidarity with regional, holdings. Gambia acted purely on humanitarian basis, and it is also on a temporal basis to host Issa Bakary. However, when he arrived in the country, he was also given some conditions that he cannot use the Gambia to launch attacks or to cause any instability in Cameroon. Those were the conditions of his stay here. About his engagement with the international community, this is something that is not up to that level, okay, if he wants to go back home. Well, he ran away because he knew that he was going to be arrested and also be taken before the court of law. That is why he ran away. So engaging maybe discussions with international community, probably that should come from him or from Cameroon if they so want to do so, and if they want to solicit Gambia's support in making sure that there is peace and stability and negotiation in this matter.
According to the statement of the government, when he came, because when he came, it was around 3 weeks before government notified the public. Because he arrived here on the 7th of November. So before government notified the public, it was on the 22nd. government said that they are going to engage with international partners, especially the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
So in the event that Cameroon and Bakari himself and Nigeria wanted to go ahead with the negotiation part, of course, then we will engage with the international partners. Yes. What was the next question? Macky Sall's bid.
I say, is he still in the country?
He's in the country.
But government said they are going to update the public, but they are not doing that.
Have they not done that by informing the public?
Yes.
They inform you that he's in the country now.
It's just now they are in July. I think
But
that is the update that you have been given by government.
Okay.
When he arrived in the country, government updated the public
Next question about
about the bid for Macky Sall to run for the United Nations Secretary General. That has not come to the attention of government. And all that we are saying, we don't know what is the current status of Macky Sall, whether he is bidding for the position or not. But that's entirely the politics of Senegal and not the Gambia. Thank you. Please.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. I am going to speak out of what Dr. Cesar has presented in Honorable Minister. I was opportune to go to Turkey during the saga of Gambian migrants facing some challenges.
Yes.
So I was opportune to have an interview face to face with the ambassador, His Excellency Ankani
Conte, yes.
And I put some questions to him, especially the one that mentioned the time and the manner in which the migrants get across to them by telephone. Because he mentioned that they are working on time, like they close by 5. So if you call after 5, the office line, nobody will be able to access because they have gone home. I also listened to your interview on West Coast Radio. You mentioned that at least their personal phones should also sometimes be available for some of these migrants in case they face any situations out of the official working hours. He was able to explain in a manner that I understand he also have a personal life, and sometimes you can have missed calls, it's normal. And what he explained that I understand is that some of them use private lines to call, and you cannot call them back once you see the missed call. But my worry is this: I was able to speak to some migrants off camera in Izmir. I visited them in their houses. They were captured and released after a year. They paid $1,500 according to them, but they were not given documents, the required documents, because after paying, you are supposed to be given a paper that can give you the
legality
to stay in Turkey.
That was the purpose of that payment.
Yes.
Okay.
But still, they are struggling to get that paper, even after making payment and getting their lawyers. So I wanted to know, as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, I'm sure you are in touch with the embassy. Some of these migrants there are really suffering. I know it because I went to visit them and I spoke to them. So what are some of the ways that you are going to, in case of, so for you to get in touch with the embassy more often, for them to visit these migrant centers, I mean detention centers, because they told me they visited 4 since 2023, since he was the ambassador in Turkey. They visited 4 out of 81 cities, because he said there are 81 cities in Turkey.
81 regions.
Regions, rather. And all those regions have one or more than one detention centers. So that means we have a lot of work to do. And he said it's a process. What is your ministry and the embassy going to see that at least in a year you can visit 5 or 6 of these detention centers to get to know some of the challenges these people are facing? If they call, they are not able to get across to the embassy. And when they want to visit the embassy, it might be difficult because they are under detention. So what are you and the embassy in Turkey doing to get in touch with these migrants there, to know their situation, their welfare, and everything that has to do with that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. It happens that I also serve in Turkey, both as Deputy Head of Mission and as Ambassador also for 1 year. During our time, we tried to establish associations. One was association for the students, and then another association for the community. These are the migrants. And time, we do have meetings. We have very good engagement with our communities in Turkey. When I was there, we tried to create also a data. We know where every Gambian, resides in any of the regions and also in the cities as well. It was a very good, system that we put in place. Recently, when we had these issues regarding our migrants, that a good number of them are now in detention camps. We also engage with our missions. And then when I was going to West Coast also, we had, according to the records they gave, about 100 Gambians in various detention centers. And we also have the names of all those Gambians who are there. Immediately, we had to communicate with the Turkish authorities. And as we are talking, on the 17th of April, I have been given, an invitation by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, my brother Fidan Hakan, to visit and also purposely to discuss about the status of our Gambian citizens in Turkey. That is going to be the purpose of my visit in Turkey, to make sure that at least they are applied. Like you have already mentioned, if they are asked to pay $1,500 to regularize their stay in Turkey, I see no reason why, after paying that amount of money, they do not have their papers. If that is the purpose of the payment, I don't know. But then my visit to Turkey probably would unveil a lot of other things. But purposely is to engage Turkey to make sure that at least our citizens in Turkey do have the necessary documentation to be able to live happily and also to work freely in the Republic of Turkey. Thank you.
Yes, suma last question bi rek ci wàllu mbay mi da nga wax ne lu toll ak 186 tracteurs yoo xam ne góor ak Gambia yi jël na ko joxe am na ñu dëkk ci CRR di bay maalo rawatina ci nord bi dañ da wax ne pour ñu am accès ci tracteurs yooyu dafa nekk problème suñ bayee nit ba maalo mi ñor pour ñu góob ko dafa nekk problème lañ nekk di wax mooy ñi jox machine yi dafa am ñeneen ñoo xam ne dafa mel dañ ko jël moomale ko seen bopp dañ ko dee gën a rek ku leen neex la ñoo jox tracteur bu ku leen neexul duñ leen ko jox according to dem ci li nga xam ne ñoom wax nañ ma ko bi ma amee ñoom ak waxtaan so ci loolu noonu lan mooy ci nekk taxawaayu jëwri gi tekki wàllu mbay pour ñu gis ne kat tracteur yi ñi ko war a jot dinañ ko jot ci waxtu bi ñu ko soxla
waaye tracteur yi yu government isi 180 tracteur yi mooy téeméer ak juróom-ñetti fukki tracteur yu government isi du pour jox ko nit ñi for free dafa am ay statut yu government teg mooy ne tracteur bi nguur gi na ko isi yow mi nga na nga bëgg a tracteur da ngaa fay 25% léegi government moo laa fayal 50% beneen 25 nga koo fay ndànk-ndànk kon yow ki ñëw nga fay sa 25% nga sign contract pour njëla tracteur yow sa bos la nu la neexee nga ko usé warloo ko dem si ak xanaa nga bëgg a abal nit de kon ñooñu suñ bëggee tracteur ñooñu tamit jël si tracteur yi tracteur bi du free ne ko dañ ko mayee ne wala pour community bi la non du loolu sarta bi mooy ne da ngaa ñëw nga apply ne da nga bëgg a tracteur bi nga fay 25% government fay la 50% beneen 25 nga ko fay nanka for 5 years dem jéem mu nekk sa bos dañ koo jabara subvented prices let's say tracteur mu ngi jar $5 million let's say tracteur mu ngi jar 5 million dañ ko yombalal béykat bi ne da ngaa ñëw nga fay 25% ñaata la 1.5 million foog naa so $1 million for exemple la laa jox ni rek beneen 25% nga ko fay ndànka for 5 years beneen government moo la ko fayal it means yow 2.5 million nga fay government moo la fayal ba mu yombal la ko ba doo 2.5 doo ko fay yëpp sax da ngaa fay ndànka so pour jàppale béykat bi la mu am access to tractor fekk du sona loolu rek la déedéet doo ko mën a am su dee ñëwloo nga wane interest nga fay 25% bi doo si mën a am xanaa ñu jàppale la si beneen wi xam naa ne moom ici woon nañ harvesters combine harvesters ak yeneen tractors di ko jàppale nañuy rice farmers xaw ma ñan ñoo bénéfice loolu nag mënuma see sori si boobu noonu waaye xam naa ne moom si mbiri 180 scheme bi initiative bi pour gis mu yomba mooy dañ laa jot tractor nga fay 25% government fay la 50% bi 25 nga ko fay ndànk combine harvesters yu gaa ici nag naka lañ ko tasaare si dex gi nag boobu xaw ma naka la fa demee
parce que ñoom li ñu waxoon mooy ñi nga xam ne ñoom la ministre bi jox tracteur yooyu noonu dafa am ñeneen ñoo xam ne am nañ si yëfi bopp bokkut ak bu ministre bi soo ñooñu ñoom understand ne private ñoom ku bëgg a luwaas nga dem nga luwaas kon bi nga xam ne moo nekk ci ministre bi ci boppam ñeneen ñi nga xam ne dañ ko jox daanaka ñoo ko dee doxalee boo xam ne
ok léegi loolu am na solo dinañ waxaa ministre bi bring li to his attention ne ko ne nii la fa demee suba ma mun a gestu seetu naka la moo mën a def pour gis nañ képp koo xam ne war ngaa njëriñoo si tracteur bi nga njëriñoo si
You said, I mean, you wouldn't go Gambia film, but there was a point in time that before Senegal said was the joke, Gambia said was moving the joke. And this is here, upcoming artists, the Gambia film, Gina make claims of someone and then calling him in that situation. When this Kenyan Kohaman familiar with Gina, you claim of the same when he was a minor. But then you don't see any situation government ministry or government, Gina, you step in to it because it was all over. They were giving interviews. You understand? It was all over. The claims we are going around. If we are asking why is it that the government did not come into?
Why no, I'm not doing law enforcement. Yene liggéey police la. Su dee nit def na loo xam ne dafa àndut ak yoon dafa jalgati yoon lu waa loolu liggéey police loolu liggéey government mënut a dugg si loo xam ne liggéeyam aarama ñoo rek tey loi bi moo wax ne sëy góor ak jigéen loi bi daf ko tere Gambia léegi su kenn ak génne mu may claim si war a ñu téye loolu liggéey police loolu liggéey government mënut a dugg si yu noonu Sénégal tey sax da nga mos a gis da nga gis nguuri Sénégal di si dugga dugguñu si liggéey police moo nekk di def liggéeyam si particular case booy wax ni xaw ma naka la ma detail si ba su dee loo xam ne la police gis na ne liggéeyam mu ngi dina war a def liggéeyam si nu mu ko war a defee waaye loolu government mun sa dugal si yoo xam ne du liggéeyam lu liggéey police la.
Police was working under the government.
non loolu la wax waaye police ma ñëw rek tey liggéey government loolu la mu bëgg a mooy government dañoo di government mun ta dugal si loo du liggéey xam nga dañu am police bu independent boo xam dañoo def seen liggéey. su dee kenn ak génn na mu ne góor jigéen la loolu liggéey police pour mu investigate la su dee evidence mu fa ki mu war a prosecute waaye ñu liggéey government ñu mënuñoo dugg si loolu noonu as a government bëggul inspecteur ba ministre wala ministry wala président mu involve si loolu liggéey police la waaw.
My last question goes to the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, it is overlooked too that Gambians are not entering in Mali by land. In one blogger, Gambian blogger, famously known as Gano, you understand? He experienced it when he went to Mali, you understand, by flight and wanted to live by land. He said he has to go back and try flying again, and other individuals as well. So I was actually working on a story on that, but then has to post it because I was not having the access to you. Understand? At that point in time, I don't know where to get.
Did you ask for any?
I tried to get your communication.
Through where? Through who?
Through different individuals. But
Who?
I don't have a direct contact to get him. That's why I said I saw post it.
You can have my number.
Okay, no problem. I will do it after this press conference. Okay. So now, what we want to know is that what is the stand of the government doing that to make sure that Gambians, because we know that come to many that eventually in Mali. So now they are stuck, they cannot go to Mali by land. What is the ministry doing in that situation?
Well, it's not about the ministry. You know, Mali, Jamanu, is all about insecurity. I mean, it is not safe for people to travel there, especially certain regions of Mali, because of the security situation. Lulumo one moy fo xamne jam amu fa xex mo fa nek jihadists. So I don't know why one would want to risk, lives in trying to go through those kind of terrains. Okay, that is why sometimes they ask them to take the fly, okay, to go to Bamako and then out, rather than using the road.
For Gambians, it's clear. It went to a point that they write in their signboards, Gambians are not. It's not for other countries everywhere.
The Malian authorities said Gambians are not allowed.
To enter by land.
It's because of the insecurity that's happening there. Not only Gambians. This was a general, feeling. Or you are saying specifically that Gambians are not allowed?
Yes.
To enter Mali?
Yes.
Gambians are not allowed.
Gambians not allowed. Yes.
I did not see that.
I spoke to someone, you understand, according to my source, he flipped it and he was detained to delete that.
Was that coming from government to say that Gambians are not allowed, or was that just anybody else, any individual?
You find a signboard where Gambians are normally entered, and you see that the signboard is written there. You understand? No Senegalese are allowed to enter by land. Gambia doesn't border with Mali.
Yeah, we don't have border with
I don't
Mali.
mean Gambia border with Mali. In their borderline.
Okay.
Where people enter by land.
We'll find out.
Okay, we'll get to find that out also. Thank you for bringing that. We will find out. Thank you. Jerry.
No, wait. He said according to his source. Maybe his source disappointed. Your source disappointed you.
It's not on my source disappointed.
This guy likes source. Yes, go on.
Well, I'm like, government right now. Come then they for that it is very good with senior price. Then they you have to see Gov'T. So la government base. Did that right now to make sure price you maintain while you want as a send where it was with bagage you want to deny on the rank or some move young as young. Because right now, then I guess then you nailed the face problem you buy. For example, let's say onion. Let's say 1,002. All of a sudden, the guy is very good banging you 1,006, 1,008. How government be able to consider a panta how again they can get to make so price in you watch.
Your sub question be no ko wara frame when nalla nit ñi wara def. Government limu wara def na ko be pare. Ñu luñu wara def nañ ko moy ne gis nañ ne dañ stabilize prices yi be pare through monetary and fiscal policy ak through some investments ak subsidies. Gis nañ ne saaku maalo legi wàcc na. Te maa ngi hold record si 9 February wholesale price is 1,450. Legi dafa des le foo ko jëndee Serekunda fa am price am 1,650. Banjul am price am dafa des si bantu ñu ko jëndee but stabilize nañ price but saaku maalo legi is under 2,000. ñëpp xam nañ loolu noonu. Legi nit ñi nga war a waxal legi shopkeeper yi ñu bàyyi di increase price because of very cost. So legi sax ko dafa war a lan la nit ñi war a def parce que government mënut a dem si market bi si every shop government mënut a nekk si every shop di contrôle wax nit ñi ne nii nga koo jaayee léegi ñun citizens si ñoo war a nekk citizens yu baax ngay jaay sa price noo ko war a jaay bu ko yokka because of very cost la so ñun ñoo war a jël responsabilité bi waaye ñu lu ñu war a def mooy léegi stabilise nañ prices yi muy diwlin muy soble muy pompiteer muy saaku maalo stabilise nañ muy sukur yëpp stabilise nañ prices yi léegi te expect loo tamit kii Gambia du ñëw produce all these things amuñ factory diwlin amuñ factory sukur amuñ factory maalo ak yu noonu these things coming from outside dañ ko di jënd léegi kii jaay doo ko wane wàññil sa price because of very cost ko dafa lose suba lu dee lu dee isi mooy scarcity moo tax government in a free market du dee involve si price control because soo ko defee daf dee backfire dafa cause scarcity yow de soo nekkoon jaaykat nga jënda saaku maalo $50 yi India $50 nga ko jëndee nga teg si loo ko transporté pour isi ko $5 mu nekk 55 nga fay si shop fay courant fay leberes fay everything mu demee $60 yi nga ñëw léegi pour jaay ko 62 $2 mooy sa government na nga ko jaay 55 doo ko jaay da nga ko denca suba soo dencee luy xew scarcity moo am moo tax government di dugga si price control but government dafa ensure comme for basic commodities can du fay waiver duty si maalo ak basic commodities pour mu gën a yombal askan bi kon léegi government def na loolu soo ven na fuel si pom bi tey Gambia si sub-region bi apart from Nigeria for obvious reasons because dañu am diw ñoo amee the cheapest fuel in the sub-region te Gambia because of lan ñu ngi subsidize fuel bi si pom bi soo ko ñëwee $82 per litre government bu nga see tegal beneen boo xam ne bu dafa dem si sa poche te ñu ngi subsidize electricity su dee yaa ngi fay $17 per kilowatt hour tey courant cash power government mu nga see tegal loo xam ne boobu sa poche la moo dem pour rek nga am extra money sa poche as a Gambian increasing salaries on 3 occasions pour rek ñu am extra xaalis si suñu poche tey soo seetee sub-région bi lekk fii la gën a yombee muy diwlin muy sukur muy maalo yëpp fii la gën a yombee Gambie la gën a yombee léegi suñu defee loolu ñu def loolu léegi ñun askan wi léegi ñu war a jël responsibility ñu bàyyi di yokk prices yi su dee weeri koor mu ngeen jot si ko leen gis mu def ko dañ ko ong si boppam ngeen ne ko ne hey lii jaadu loolu rek ngeen a mën a def waaye ñun as a government def nañu ñu war a pour gis ne stabilisation prices yow fu mu nekk ne soo demee si benn shop nga gis ne shopkeeper bi mu ngi inflate price on nga boole ko si police bi wala nga boole ko nga dem ministre of trade nga boole ko feena waaye ñun as a mënuñoo nekk every shop mënuñ fa nekk citizens si ñëwoon ñu moo tax man la ne sa question ko war a frame ñun lan la ñoo mën a def pour jàppale government bi government def na ay jéego pour jàppale askan bi pour gis ne price yëpp stabilise nañ ko léegi ñun lan la ñoo def pour jàppale government bi mooy yow kii jaay nga bàyyi sa price si mu nekk foo xam ne noonu la fa war a nekk yow mi nga xam ne yaa ngi jënda koo xam ne mu ngi def njuuj jaaj yokka price nga boole ko wala bu jënda si moom nga dem jënda si keneen. Final question, huh?
Sorry.
Yes. Final.
To a conversation, the engagement that he was having with the Honorable Minister regarding that he was trying to request for information and things like that. So my question is in relation to the Access to Information Act, which requires public bodies to have information officers where journalists, if they want information, they can go through there and get it. What is being done to ensure that these information officers are available and journalists can have their communication details so that when we need something, we can acquire it from them?
Oh, they're available. When it was implemented, we have ensured that every MDA has an information officer, at least 2 information officers. And the process, I think you should familiarize yourself with the process. You don't just go there, you write to the MDA that you want information from and request for information. And they are bound by a law to respond to you within 14 days to say they've received your request and they'll work on it. And bound by a law to also respond and give you information. And where they cannot, because of exemptions in the law, they have to also notify you. So this is happening. All MDAs are now information officers. So if you require any information, just write to the MDA and request for information. By law, if the information is not exempt by law in the Act, they are bound by law to give it to you. Otherwise, you could go to the commission and lay a complaint and they'll investigate and make sure that they do the right thing. There's a commission set up for that, where you feel that your information is not provided for you.
I'm asking because the problem we have right now is a lot of us don't know who these MDAs are and what their communication details are for us to have.
No, but what are the MDAs? It's ministry departments and agencies. Let's say you need information from Minister of Agriculture. Who do you write to? The permanent secretary, Minister of Agriculture. It goes to Agriculture, and I think mostly is the permanent secretary who is the information officer in this ministry. So if you want information from Minister of Tourism, you write the Minister of Tourism. So it depends on the ministry, department, or agency. If you want information from GAIPA, you write to GAIPA. They have an information officer who will take care of your file and make sure that they give you the information you need. We need to test the law. The law is there already, but we're not using the law. We have to use the law to get access to information. Finally, we are done. We are done. Okay, last question, and then we'll close.
I'm sorry, madam.
Yes.
This is something that is so concerning. Just talk to my man. I'm sorry, guys.
Your last question, and
This
we
is
are
the
going.
opportunity that I have. However,
Yes.
this is just the last opportunity that I have. Actually, I have tried a few times to have a special interview with you. So it was
From which media house?
SS Media.
Okay.
You understand? It's not possible, so I'm going to use this opportunity.
Okay.
Actually, there's something that is concerning and in Gambia right now. If you leave Gambia, you home, you went anywhere, and like for example, you went to Brigam, after 9 o'clock, the only way you can pay is $400 by vans. It's commercial. They deliberately change prices. The more you get late, the more they will charge. I don't even mean tablets and others. What is the government trying to do that? And so, okay, you have secret agents that will be in midst of people at night to make sure that something like that is not.
It's good you bring this to our attention. Like I said, government is not everywhere, and government cannot be everywhere. And it's good you bring this to our attention. We'll talk to the ministry responsible for that, and then we'll talk to the transport union, and we'll make sure we'll take measures that will ensure that nobody exploits Gambians. The President, His Excellency, has one mission and one goal. In fact, 2. The first is to ensure every Gambian lives a dignified life. That is why it's bringing all these investments in electricity, water, roads, schools, healthcare, youth empowerment initiatives, women empowerment initiatives. Second is to ensure every Gambian fulfills their true potentials. That is why it's building all these skill centers so young and universities, so young people can fulfill their potentials. Now, anything, any activity, any action that expresses Gambians is unacceptable, and we'll take the strongest measure to stop it. We'll bring it to the attention of the authorities that are responsible for this to look into this and ensure that any driver who exploits Gambians because of their vulnerability will be dealt with in line with the law. You're not done yet?
Only one.
Yes.
Is government considering dropping charges against the 23 Pura protesters?
Ask the courts.
No, last time, though, you guys said they should come for a negotiation at the last press conference.
We
So
never,
if you are telling me-
no. We never said negotiation. We said let us dialogue as a country and resolve our problems in the offices and in the boardrooms
But
and
that
not in
could
the
be came
streets.
there.
No, I'm coming.
About dropping the charges.
I'm coming. What I'm saying is that as a government, we prefer dialogue to people going to the streets. The particular case is in the courts. It is unwise for me to comment on cases that are in the courts. The courts are independent in this country. Recently, you've seen the Gambia government. In fact, we have the freest, most independent judiciary in the world, I can say. Why? Because we've lost cases. Recently, the Sanyang case we've lost. Many cases we've lost. And because it shows our judiciary is independent. The case is in the courts. The courts will determine what sanctions to make or not